We are backstage at David Gray Studios. And today we're speaking with Raquel Justice.
Stacy, it's okay, all right? It's not your fault, all right?
Don't touch me!
Who has been a student of mine since she was a little bit of a thing. I would love it if you could just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you started and how things started out for you professionally.
Well, I'm 18 now. I started acting when I was 11, and I learned most of what I know now from you guys. I started with plays and reality TV, an episode with my family of Celebrity Wife Swap, and then I went on to do The Little Mermaid and Peter Pan, and I loved that. I loved being on stage, and everything was kind of becoming quicker for me to memorize, and I realized that I wanted to go even further with that. So then I wanted to transition over to TV and film, and I booked my first role, which was on Recovery Road.
Yeah, at my old school we had a strict dress code, and no, I don't play any sports. I hate sports.
And I booked that role out of an elevator in the Disney building. So everything was just happening. It was crazy. Everything was just it happened so fast. I went up, I filmed the next day, and then after that first day on set, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. This is the only thing that I want to do. And so learning more and more about the craft over the years has been amazing. And I look back at my self-tapes from when I first started and just seeing the progress is crazy, because sometimes you get all caught up in yourself and you're like, oh, I need to be better, or I'm not booking enough, so I'm not good enough. But you just got to take a step back and realize where you came from. It's an uphill climb. So I mean, there's nothing else I really would want to be doing. This is it.
You know, it's funny. If I want to be a brain surgeon, I know how to be a brain surgeon. I got to go to medical school. I got to ace the boards. I got to have my residency in brain surgery. 7 years later, I'm cutting open heads. But to be an actor, there is no exact path. What advice would you give to somebody to help them navigate their way through this industry that has no clear path?
There's a few things for sure that I'm thinking. It's not even just acting, but it's life-wise too, that I translate into my acting. That's really helped me learning how to turn nerves into excitement, because I was always so nervous and I was scared to get up in front of everybody else and do something and have them all stare at me and then have to hear I always thought I was being criticized or whatever. But it's just learning that it's constructive criticism and everybody there just wants the best for you. That helped a lot.
I thought you weren't going to give me a speech. That was totally a speech.
It was a speech.
Mm-hmm.
And learning how to turn that into a sort of excitement for the art, for the love of art. Also having people around you, I feel, is very important. And that's what furthered me in my career. I feel having a good team and people that you can count on, working on myself, and even journaling. I was told to journal, or I was told to write down my thoughts every morning or something like that, helped me open up more. And so that helped me in turn, when I'm in a character or when I am that character, open up as that character and put more of me in it. So I feel those are some really, really important things that I learned and that I've taken with me. I think also I learned not to call it a character. I learned to call it myself when I am that character, to become that person. And sometimes, it's good. Sometimes it's hard because it's a hefty character.
That's why you have to start over as someone new. It's the only way.
But that's also helped me, because when you put yourself in the mindset of that character, it grounds you. And also allowing myself to fail. I think allowing myself to mess up and have a bad day, and days where I just couldn't memorize my lines, or I memorized them and then I go to do them, and then it wasn't in my brain, it wasn't working, it wasn't coming out. I'd get frustrated. I'd think I was bad. But that comes with anything you do in any job. You're going to have your bad days and your good days. So allowing myself to not be I'm a perfectionist, not be so perfect all the time, and to hear no's and realize that doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that wasn't right for you. So just to appreciate the little victories is also a big thing that I've taken with me over these years.
That was a great answer. And I hope that that can help a lot of young people out there who are listening right now. In that same vein, in the idea of helping young people, what do you feel you learned that you rely on during the lean times, during the times when work isn't coming? What keeps you going, and what tools, what coping mechanisms did you learn that you now have?
It wasn't sugar-coated. You're going to hear way more no's than you're going to hear yeses. And was just off the bat. So I prepared myself for all those no's. Preparing, it doesn't make it easier, but it definitely, it puts you in that mindset where I try not to get too connected or too invested unless, I get kind of further down the line. So yeah, learning that off the bat, it's going to be a long road to that one yes. But also something that helped me was working with the other actors, and I thought the other actors were great, amazing, and they're hearing no's. And I'm like, no, but they're so good. They're so good. So when I heard a no and I would get on myself and think that I was bad, I'm like, well, think about your peers, the people who you're working with. You think they're amazing and they're hearing no's. It's not like they're bad actors. It's just that's the whole process. That's the whole journey. It's not about, that end product. I feel like every no is just another chance for you to learn something new about acting. So I think that if you hear no, that was meant to be your no, and it's not going to make it hurt any less, but it helps you can pick up and continue, because then you can focus on the next one, turn your attention to that one. And if that one's a no, to the next one, because one of them is going to break through. One of them is going to be the right one for you. And whereas, the last one might've been the right one for your fellow actor or your friend, or, I've gone up against my friends and they've gotten it, and I've been happy for them, because when I watch them, I'm like, oh, this is your part. This is you. You did an amazing job. It wasn't for me. If I didn't have the people that I have around me, it would be a lot harder for me. And I would take it a lot more internally, but I have a great team. And I also have great acting coaches and my parents. And so having people who really believe in you, even when you fail to believe in yourself, it helps you get back up and keep going. Because when you don't want to do it for you, you do it for them, At least I got in front of that person. Now, next time they're going to remember me, they're going to know me, they're going to know my name. So that's how it helps me get through all that stuff.
Hey, so take me back to when you were first studying with us and you first started learning. What really resonated with you that you now use in your arsenal to help you get these jobs and help you get ahead?
For me, the main thing about being on set, one, of course, you always have to come prepared, but you also have to come prepared not just as the character, but as yourself. I have to come as Raquel Justice, and I have to present myself how I want people to know about me in this business. So I feel like always just being kind, always being there, always being ready. Don't ever have people be waiting on you, just take this seriously. It's a job. Be responsible, but also you don't have to be so serious, keep it light, talk to people, get to know people, learn people's names is very important to me. I try to write the names down, because I like to know who I'm talking to. And I think that's very important. And that word gets around about stuff like that. You hear stories about people on set not being so nice, and then you're not going to want to work with those people. So I think it for sure is bringing your A game just as yourself. You don't, not as your character, but as yourself. You definitely have like phases where you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm just drifting. I'm not doing anything. You feel really down. It takes you down. It really takes you down. But a few things that I've learned to do, one is not to compare myself, because everybody is different. Again, the whole thing with social media is like you look at people and you think you know their life, but you don't know their life at all. I mean, people think they know my family's lives, and then they ask questions. I'm like, oh, that's so far from the truth. I sometimes put my entire being and personality on acting, but you got to separate yourself from what you do. Like, this job is not going to make you. It's what you enjoy, but it's not, without it, you're not going to be nobody, So having hobbies, like I read a lot, or just like having people, like I hang out with my friends, or I like to paint, or just like self-care days, especially like if you don't ever let yourself go out and experience life, not just this, but life on your own without the acting part of it, you're not going to be able to bring those life experiences into this role. You're not going to have that thing that differentiates you from other actors, because that thing that makes you you is what is going to make you different in this industry, that you can bring to your character. So I feel like having those experiences is why I'm going to college, or why I've been traveling. Like before, I was really nervous to do all that stuff because I didn't know who was going to affect my acting, or even something as simple as getting a nose ring for me, it stressed me out, because I was like, oh my God, like it could take me down. But I'm like, I can take it out for the auditions. I'll put it back in. This is me. And then audition me is different, So having your own love for other things and being able to live life not according to acting, but with acting simultaneously is really, really, really important.
Okay, here's a silly little question that I like to ask. Well, I don't know how silly it is. I ask everybody the same question. What was your first memory of me and the studio and coming to class for the first time as a young actress that hadn't really done it yet? Just take me back there and tell me, what was your first impression?
I remember being terrified of improv classes, but being forced to do it. I remember being absolutely terrified and hiding in the back, but loving when it came to the drama classes. And I felt like I really had somebody on my side who cared about me getting better, and having people who see something in you when you're starting off, when you don't see it yet, but who can notice something and are trying to pull it out of you, but not pressuring you, kind of just letting you grow along with it, but really, you guys pushed me a lot, and I'm really, really appreciative for it, because without all that, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten better, and I wouldn't be where I am now, or even like you guys are still pushing me. A sense of warmness and like security, if that makes sense. Like I really knew that where I was at the first studio down here in San Diego, that would come here like once a month, that this is like, okay, I think I found the people that I can stick with for a while. And then I never left. So it's been 7 years. I probably would have burnt out emotionally without the team that I have. So I'm very, very appreciative for that.
We were lucky to have a student like you too. So thank you for the fantastic advice and wonderful things that you've had to say today. I hope this can help some other young actors coming up and help them battle their way into this industry, because it's tough. It's tough. Thank you, Raquel. You've been sensational.
Thank you. Bye.
You can catch Raquel Justice right now on Quantum Leap, Raven's Home, and Blackish. You've been watching Backstage at David Gray Studios. Interested in classes? davidgraystudios.com.